night on that drum solo.
Did you?
In my garage, I just sat there. Neighbors just beating on the door, you know. Welcome to the Shed, Making Sheds Happen.
Making
podcast.
Shed Happen.
I'm sorry, I'm still new. It's my first day, right? I'm Mike Wilshire. I'm your host. This is Keith Fromm, the owner, CEO, chief bottle washer, CFO. You're everything, man. You the janitor.
I have lots of hats.
You like the custodian. You gonna have to do every job in America for Custom Sheds by Keith, right?
You want to own a business.
I know, right? Sometimes you get to throw it at Eddie. Eddie is now our cameraman, producer,
Studio audience.
He's there supporting us through, he's there in spirit.
That's it. Eddie's always there.
Eddie's always there. I like that. I call y'all at breakfast. I'm at breakfast with Eddie. Oh, I'll let y'all go so y'all can enjoy breakfast.
What gets me though is I can't understand how you're calling at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're usually asleep.
I am. But that's owning a business and
right?
Waking up at 6 and worrying about what I need to do. And I know you're up because you wake up at like 3:30.
I'm up at 4.
4?
Yeah.
You're up before the rooster crows, man.
Yep.
The rooster's like, will you go back to bed? The sun's not up, dude. He's like, cock-a-doodle. I'm going to sleep. That's hilarious. All right, so we're here in Azle. We're at the big place of business. The
CSBK headquarters.
We are at the Secret Bat Cave.
That's right.
And we're in the mobile studio, Big Blue.
Big Blue.
This is our first show. We've already had like half a take because we had a little problems with the audio this morning, but I think that was technical error. That was operator error. That was my fault.
Yes, it was
I
your
had
fault.
plugged in the wrong hole. And thank God he's so nice of a boss, right? He
Episode 1 of season 1 of Error 1.
That's right. He doesn't make you cry much, does he, Eddie?
Nah.
Every now and then, right? He's a big mean guy. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to start off the origin, and we need to start off the origin of how you and I met. And then we're going to go back to the origin of what is Custom Sheds by Keith, why you're in business, what you're doing, what your dream, what your plans are for the future. We're going to cover some past builds.
Right.
We're going to be filming current builds as they go.
Current builds. We'll look at what we're working on right now. We'll look at some previous buildings that really turned out really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Might even show you a picture of the very first building I ever built.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
It's on 35 millimeter. It's very grainy. It looks like the Bigfoot photo.
Right. It's a slide.
It was in the 1890s when I started doing this. Right.
So how did we meet?
Okay, so I was on a radio show, and the radio show that I was doing, one of the fans emailed in, and I get to do my shameless plug. If you have any questions for Keith or I, djmikewilshire@gmail.com. And a person emailed and said, I'm looking to build a tiny home or a lean-to or something on my back of my house.
Yeah.
And I'm running into code issues. I'm running into builders that I just think are frauds.
Right. A lot of that, unfortunately.
And it's you run into it. I mean, you tell somebody a quote, so I'll build it for $400. Yeah, right, dude. If you could build that for $400.
That doesn't cover material.
Right. You're going dumpster diving for your material.
Right.
You're grabbing something out of it. And so person emailed in, I started searching on Facebook, and I found frauds. I found people that just weren't good. And then I also found that whenever I called in, I got for immediate building, press 1. If you owe us money, press 2 and we'll answer right away. If you think you're going to build one day, press 3 and hold for 3 hours.
If they answered at all.
Yeah, if they ever answered at all. And it was funny because whenever I come across your Facebook ad, it was just because you search in the algorithm and then eventually it shows custom shed builders, and I mean you have all the boxes checked, and it gave me a phone number and I called, and lo and behold, Shannon answered.
Shannon, my director of operations.
He was on the phone with me, and within 5 minutes of that conversation, I had asked him about somebody doing an interview. If somebody wanted to talk, if somebody wanted to get with me, he was like, hey, you want to talk to the owner? Let me get him on the phone.
Yeah.
And within 15, 20 minutes, at that time I was working a day job and I was just there at the office, and within 15, 20 minutes, you'd called me back.
Yeah.
And it was from there, and Then it was our 45
All right,
minute.
we had about a 45-minute
We
conversation
were
talking.
best friends by the time we got off the phone.
Lifelong friends, man. I'd known you forever.
And it was hilarious. I mean, and then that started it. And then you did 2 shows with me on that other show.
Yeah.
And you were like, look, you know, I mean, we need to.
I said, I got this idea. I've had this idea for a long time. I want to create a show called Making Shed Happen.
Yep.
And
You just needed.
you were stupid enough to come along
I
with
know,
the idea.
Right? You're like, come on, dummy, look at something shiny. He held a set of keys out, and I love shiny, and then followed it. No, it was fortuitous. It was just something that was at the right moment at the right time.
For both
You
of
know,
us.
Yeah, because the show that I was doing, as much as I like doing the show, through the station, we weren't allowed to track the analytics, and nobody was sharing everything with us. Through this, we know we're going to be able to track and see
Right.
everything that we're doing from the get-go, and know what we've done right, what we've done wrong, what demographic we're reaching out to, and how we need to do it going forward. And already, just through you and the inspiration of you going, hey, get out there and do this, you know, because I didn't want to cut the strings. I didn't want to go out on my own. I was like, no, man, I'm going to have to do this many podcasts a week just to get something going. And through you, we got it started up. I've got other ones that are going right now, and it's fun walking into a meeting and showing somebody you can track the analytics.
Yeah.
Now
Absolutely.
we got to talk about your origins. What made you had a successful marketing career?
So I worked for an ad agency. We were the agency of record for American Airlines, Subaru, Nationwide Insurance, multi-billion-dollar firm. And I'd had enough. I was like, you know what? This isn't for me anymore. But my running joke during my tenure at the agency was, I'm going to quit and go build sheds. And of course, everybody laughed at me. Yeah, whatever, Keith. And but you know, God having a sense of humor, He said, you know what, Keith's going to go build sheds. So after retiring, after taking an early retirement, I fished for a couple of years and named all the fish in the lake and got bored. So I started building sheds. So those first 3 years was just me out there by myself, building 8x10s, 8x12s. But what one of the reasons I started it is because I missed this. I missed people. Fish don't talk back to you.
Right.
And so I missed people. I missed being out and about and meeting new people, having conversations. And so for those first 2 or 3 years, building buildings by myself, I knew how to build. I'd built a shed before for myself, but basically honing my craft. And from the beginning, I knew how I wanted to build a building. Okay, I wanted to build a building at better than house construction quality. You walk into the big building supply places, and they've got the sheds out on the lot, and on an 8-foot building they'll have a single stud in the back wall.
Yep. Made of balsa wood.
Yeah.
You're like, you guys are killing me. This is not going to last.
Right. And so I said, well, I want to build a building that is going to last, that's sturdy, that's strong, that isn't a disposable building, that isn't going to in 10 years fall down. And so that was my inspiration on how we build buildings. Now, from day one, I've never varied from how I build the bones of a building are the exact same as that very first building 14 years ago. But our aesthetics have gotten better. Every building that we build is custom on site, and we work with the customer to design that building the way that they want it. This isn't a cookie cutter building that you can go see on the side of the road and then they put it on a truck and bring it to you. This is custom built on site to your aesthetic and functional specifications.
So we're not using particle board on the
Not using particle board. We're using 3/4 inch treated plywood.
You're using 2x6, 2x8s.
2x6s, 2x8. Well, we just finished a big 20x25 that we use 2x10s in the floor.
They're going to be putting something heavy in it.
Well, they're going to be living in it.
Yeah.
This we built a tiny house, and we'll get to that and we'll show pictures of that. But so yeah, depending on the size of the building, we're going to custom the floor structure. So 8x10, we're going to use treated 2x6s. Anything over 12 feet, we're using 2x8s. Anything over that, we're going to 2x10s. We've even built buildings large enough to do 2x12s in the floor. So we are building it better than house construction quality. I want this building to last your lifetime, the kids' lifetime.
Right.
So.
And when you get just back to the floors, you anchor those in the foundation is
right.
Anchored in if it's.
Yeah, so
explain how that's done, because that, to me, when you told me that the first time, I was like, you were speaking Greek. I've never heard.
So on a basic building, we will, let's just say a 12 by 16. Mm-hmm. We take a 4-inch thick by 16-inch by 16-inch house leveling block, and we bury that in all 4 corners, but we also put one on the middle of the 16-foot run. So we're building on house leveling blocks. From there, we take we build up the perimeter of our base. We level it on those concrete blocks. We put our floor joists in. Then we support every single floor joist down the middle of that building. So it's literally like a pier and beam house.
Right.
And all of our floor joists are on 16-inch centers, not 24-inch centers. Once we get that done, then we go in and put cross bracing between the floor joist on 16-inch centers. So it looks like a checkerboard.
Right.
And what this does for us is whenever you step on a joist, you're not just stepping on that joist, you're also transferring that weight to the joist beside it. So you don't have flex. Well, first off, you don't have flex because of all the piers we're putting in down the middle of the building. Mm-hmm. Plus, with those cross braces, the floor doesn't move.
Right.
Floor doesn't move.
It feels solid.
It is solid.
So it's not like the old houses we used to walk on where everything creaked the whole
right.
time. It's
right.
pretty solid.
It's solid.
It's going to stay that way because that stuff, it doesn't have the flex. It's
right.
not going to be able to. And treated 2x6s, treated 2x8s, treated 2x12s.
All treated in the floor on
all
16 inches.
And then, so let's talk about the walls along the sides of.
So the walls are on 16-inch centers. We even put our ceiling rafters on 16-inch centers. The reason I do that, again, to build a solid building, but you drive around and you see these brand new homes going up. Those rafters are in 24-inch centers. And after about 6 months, you start seeing waves in that roof.
Right.
You'll never see a wave in a 16-inch center roof.
And you're a carpenter's carpenter. I mean, when I took you to the hilltop, we walked in that barn. I don't think you looked at the bar or the stage.
No, I started looking up at all the rafters.
There was, he was using words I never even heard. Look at that, and it was fun. I mean, it's fun to watch carpenters walk into something and see it and know what's going into design and how to build it and how to make it last and where you don't have a problem in the future.
It's just I just love carpentry. I enjoy it. Now, unfortunately, I'm not able to do a lot of it anymore. But that's why I've got Eddie, my master carpenter.
Younger people.
That's right, younger people.
Eddie ain't gonna age. He'd been the same age for 20 years.
That's right.
Like he looked the same as he did in high school.
And I call Eddie my master carpenter because he is a master carpenter. He built 6,000 square foot mansions for 20 years, and so Eddie has taught me a lot.
Right, and it let's just point out the elephant in the room. It's hard to get good help these days.
Absolutely.
It is nearly impossible. I have ran into it myself. I know that you guys run into it all the time. I've been on the phone with you, and you're like, I had to let another one go today because he just doesn't want to show up for work.
Yep.
And for anyone that's out there, I don't know if people know this, but carpentry is a skill that you could really, really use.
Oh, absolutely.
And make a lot of money at, and it keeps you in shape. It's very physical.
Absolutely.
You know. It is dangerous.
Well, it's rewarding.
Yes.
And yes, it can be dangerous, but you know, if you just watch what you're doing and don't, you know, be stupid,
try to mitigate.
You know,
try to stop things from happening.
You'll walk away every day with all 10 fingers.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of carpenters missing fingers. I do see a lot of butchers missing fingers. So that scares me half to death that, you know, the butchers are always missing fingers.
Right.
Carpenters, you might see them with some bruised knuckles or a black thumb every now and then.
Absolutely. Been there, done that.
You know, it happens, right?
Well, and of course, I can, as careful as you can be, you know, I've shot a nail in my hand before. Mm-hmm. You know, but you can minimize those.
What'd you do after you shot the nail in your hand? What did you do?
Oh,
did you go to the hospital? Or
no,
did you just pull it out?
this was back in the beginning when I was still, you know, working by myself before I was hiring people to help me. And but yeah, I was holding a board and I shot a nail, and that gun jumped on me and shot a second nail. Mm-hmm. So I had a nail that, you know, went in here and out there. So the head's here, the tip of it's out, sticking out there. I just went, well, shoot. Looked at it, wasn't bleeding or anything. You know, looked at it, said, okay, here we go. So I just grabbed that nail and yanked it right out, and it started bleeding like a stuck pig. And you know, I just let it bleed for a little bit, and you know, rinsed it off, and held it like that for a little while till it quit bleeding, and got back to work.
A lot of my friends have done that. They told me, you know, I you know, shot a nail through my hand, I yanked it out, and went home and shoved Neosporin in the holes.
Now, afterwards I did go, you know, stopped into medical clinic and got a tetanus shot.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure.
But they looked at it and they said, well, what'd you do? I said, well, I shot a nail in my hand and pulled it. Well, that's the worst thing you could have done.
Right.
I said, well, I had to make an executive decision at the time. Custom Sheds by Keith builds custom sheds, decks, backyard offices, and tiny houses. Built with quality and pride. Custom Sheds by Keith builds every building custom on site using skilled carpenters. Call us today for a free quote and site visit. Custom Sheds by Keith, built like a house, not like a shed.
All right, so welcome back, and we're going to talk about, now that we've gotten the origin done, you were doing this all by yourself for how many years?
About 3 years.
About 3 years.
Right.
And it became apparent you were not going to be able to keep doing this by yourself. You needed help.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I had an F-150 pickup truck and a little 4x8 trailer. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'd go to the building supply store and get everything, you know, pulled all my material, got everything I needed, but I would stack it on the trailer the way that I'd be taking it off to build. So, you know, first thing down, I'd put, you know, 4 sheets of siding and 10 studs, and then 4 more sheets of siding and 10 studs, and then on the very top was all my treated base material, so right there on the top of the trailer. So when I got to the job site, I don't have to unload the trailer. I just pull stuff off as I need it.
Emergency happens, you can pack up and go.
Yeah.
Real quick, and you stop where you're at.
A couple straps on it, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
So, you know, from the beginning, you know, efficiency is always important, you know, because, you know, time is money. Mm-hmm. And plus, I just didn't feel like, you know, unloading a whole building before I started building. Right. I'd be too tired to start building.
Right.
So that's how I would load my trailers up in the very beginning, so you know, again, building for 2 or 3 years by myself.
What was your tooling like? I mean, were you
top
notch, DeWalt, everything expensive,
no.
table saws, all the chop saws,
No, I've always been a lover of tools.
Right.
So I had, you know, just about every tool out there. And so to start the business, I had everything. I didn't have to buy any tools at all. And so it was great. So, but the first time I had to, again, I was building little 8x10s, 8x12s, no problem. But the first time I had to lift a 20-foot wall by myself, that's when I decided, you know what, you might need to start hiring a hand to help you.
It adds up. All those 2x4s add up.
Well, and usually what we do is, what I would do on the smaller buildings is I'd, build my base, and then on the base I'd frame a wall, put the siding on it, then just lift it up and screw it down.
Right.
But you're not doing that with a 20-foot wall. And so I did, but that was the only time I did it by myself. So that's when I decided I needed to hire some help.
I see me doing it like the Egyptians. I would have had a bunch of blocks slowly lifting that wall,
Well, and that's kind of how I had to do it. Was I got one end up and blocked it, and went over to the middle, blocked it, went over here, blocked it, and then start over and get a longer block and block it, and then finally get it up to about chest high, and I was able to push it on up.
That wall's heavy. That wall's heavy.
But
3-foot wall's heavy.
Now at the time I also had, so that was on a little 4x8 flatbed trailer. At the time, I also had a 16-foot cargo trailer. And so after I'd hired some help, we outfitted the inside of that 16-foot small cargo trailer with shelves for lumber and a rack over here for our 4x8 stuff. We're able to get all the tools in the front of the trailer, so I'm not carrying them in the back of the truck anymore. So we had, again, efficiency. We had a pretty efficient system going. But then, again, buildings keep getting bigger and bigger, more customized and stuff like that. So bought my very first F-250, but we still were using the 16-foot trailer. And then I bought my first 24-foot cargo trailer. And this has, 7 foot inside, 8 foot wide.
You thought you were in a playground.
And
all this room, you could run around and enjoy yourself.
Right. So we outfitted the new 24-foot trailer. So we've got racks on the right where we keep our treated, keep our dimensional lumber. Up on top, we keep flashing and Tyvek and tar paper, stuff like that. Over on the left, we've got a bin that's 16 feet deep, and that bin can house our plywood. So we put plywood, 4x8 sheets of plywood, 2 deep. Right. And we've also built racks on the sides where we can carry 150 studs. We've got a little alley in the middle of it. We can walk down. Underneath the alley is where we keep all of our trim, to keep it protected so it doesn't get damaged. So yeah, I'm real proud of this setup. So business is great, very blessed, and I started a second crew, bought another truck, bought another 24-foot trailer, and we outfitted that trailer exactly like the first trailer. So, and also it's got an 8-foot tool room on the front of the trailer. Every single tool you need to do a job. We even keep a generator on board in case we pop a customer's breaker or something, we can still keep going. Both trailers outfitted identical. Again, this is my efficiency and corporate side coming out. That doesn't matter.
Uniformity, it helps with the crew.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter what carpenter we put on what job. Right. Everybody knows where everything's at. We've got the same setup, the same tools on both trailers. It's great. Yeah. It's absolutely great. And the carpenters appreciate it too. Sure. I know they do, because they again, they can just walk up to the back of the trailer, grab what they need, go.
Yeah. And a master carpenter is going to come in, and you've taken a lot of that burden off of him for having to find what he needs, so he's just moving faster and faster and faster. Right. They know where anything and everything is.
Well, and again, and Eddie and I have talked about this. You don't have to be fast. You just have to be consistent.
And you have to do it right the first time.
Right.
That saves so much time.
Right. But another saying we've got is, screw up fast, fix it fast.
Right. Well, there used to be a show called 10 Grand in Your Hand, and it was this guy. He went around. He looked like what is his name? Scott Baio. He looked like Scott Baio, all grown up and old. And he was this nice Italian guy that lived in like Long Island, New York or something. He was a contractor, and he'd go around and show people how to save $10,000 on a build out that they were doing.
Wow.
And he would help people. In one of the shows I was watching, he had to tear down something and rebuild it. And as he was rebuilding it, he had a palm nailer in his hand, and he was putting these little braces up around the
Hurricane
rafters,
clips.
the hurricane clips.
Yep.
And he goes, "This is taking me little to no time to do." He goes, "But if it would have been done right the first time, it wouldn't have cost him this much money to fix it
Right.
later." Because the thing didn't hold together whenever the first windy New York, whatever it was up there on Long Island, that blew through and just destroyed that upper room.
Well, and again, talking about building it better than house construction quality, one thing we do, or several things we do. One thing is our entire base, we screw it together. Okay, the base is screwed together, not just nailed.
Right.
Walls are nailed together, but they're screwed to the floor, and they're screwed to each other in the corners. Our rafter system is completely screwed together. There's not a single nail above the header.
Okay.
So, and then if code requires, we will also go back and put hurricane ties in. But because we are completely screwed together, big winds, consistent winds, over time and time, that building is going to move a little bit, and it's going to work those nails loose. But when it's screwed together like we do it, it's not going to work out.
That's
Those
awesome.
nails are not going to back out.
And you guys, I mean, y'all, these houses that I've seen that y'all built, and I call them houses. They're not sheds to me. What y'all built, all the stuff, you showed me tree houses.
Yeah.
You showed me,
Yeah.
I'm like, let's build that for a deer stand. I always joke that I'm going to kidnap you and Eddie and take y'all down to the deer lease for a weekend, and it's going to be like, guys, it's going to be nothing but beer and barbecue, and it's one. And then y'all get down there and you're like, uh-oh, he got all that wood stacked.
Yeah, what's that stack of wood over there for? What are you building, Mike?
Yeah. You guys have to earn your meals. You got to earn your right to sleep in the warm trailer. I always thought it'd be funny to...
Don't you lock that gate behind us.
Right. They're like, oh no, we're stuck.
Custom Sheds by Keith builds custom sheds, decks, backyard offices, and tiny houses. Built with quality and pride. Custom Sheds by Keith builds every building custom on site using skilled carpenters. Call us today for a free quote and site visit. Custom Sheds by Keith, built like a house, not like a shed.
We're going to try to get access to some of the older ones that are still around that people allowed you to come see.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because we recently, about 2 months ago, we finished a building for a customer that lived next door to a customer of mine from about 6 years ago.
So we can see.
Building looks like the day we left it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
So yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we're going to be talking about past builds, current builds, showing lots of pictures of what we're doing. We're going to be bringing on Shannon Thomas, my director of operations, talk about how things work in the back end. We're going to be talking to Eddie Williams. He's my master carpenter. He's going to come on and let you talk to him. And
He's the carpenter ninja. Carpenter samurai. He comes in and is like, watch this. Yeah. Starts shooting nails. Boom, boom, boom. The wall's just standing.
That's right. That's right. Just hold that stud there from 10 feet away. I'm gonna nail that up for you.
You turn away from him and you go back to the truck to get something and you turn back and half of it's built and he's just breathing hard.
He doesn't even breathe hard.
What the heck, man? You're not even breathing through your mouth yet. You just breathing through your nose still. He's still good.
That's it.
Good. That's awesome.
But so yeah, making shed happen. This is something I've been wanting to do for years, and man, I hope y'all follow us. I hope you watch our episodes.
Make sure you hit that like and that follow button.
Please hit the like and follow button because if you do that, then I can start going live on job sites. And
Yep.
I can't go live yet because I don't have enough followers. But please hit the like and follow button, and I'll go live from job sites. We'll do interviews with customers. This is just going to be fun. And I hope y'all like it. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear comments from you, or you can email me directly. And
give me your email.
It's Keith at CSBKLLC.com. We'll post that on there.
Yep. On the screen. And I'm DJ Mike Wilshire at gmail.com. Any questions y'all have, if you want to surprise Keith with a question, send it to me. If you want to give him some heads up, send it to him, and that way he can respond to
That's
it.
it.
I'm going to put you on the spot, ask you something really, really hard, like something about ancient building or carpentry or something.
Go for it.
You know?
Go for
You
it.
ever saw that episode of, what is it, Home Improvement, where they have Bob Vila on there?
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and Tim has his wife call in and ask the question, and Bob Vila knew it. And he was like, we could do something like that. Call in and ask a really hard
We need to get in
question.
touch. We need to get in touch with Bob Vila and create a show called Stump Bob Vila.
Oh, heck yeah. I wonder if he'd do it.
Stump a carpenter.
You know, I don't know. I would gladly, like, if somebody wanted to do that, put me on the spot
Right?
and do something. I'm like, I think it'd make for great television.
Right.
Like, see me go, I tell people all the time if they want to come on and debate it on this show or something, but nobody ever does. Nope, I'm not getting in front of that camera.
Anyway.
We did it. We looked this way and we did it.
That's right.
We
That's
ugly
right.
and we still pulled it off.
That's right. Well, people always said, Keith, you've got a face for radio.
Right.
But you know what? I'm going to do this anyway.
And I always tell people, you know, at least women can put makeup on. With us, when you're born ugly, you stuck with ugly.
That's
this is
it.
what it looks like. Makeup don't look
You
good
married
on
me
us.
anyway.
That's what you have to tell her, right? You married me. I am your bad choices, right? All right, so tune in to the next one. Guys, we will get you a good episode pinned together. And take care of yourself and take care of each other.
God bless everyone, and look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Custom Sheds by Keith builds custom sheds, decks, backyard offices, and tiny houses. Built with quality and pride. Custom Sheds by Keith builds every building custom on site using skilled carpenters. Call us today for a free quote and site visit. Custom Sheds by Keith, built like a house, not like a shed.